And this is something my late partner Jim Sinclair used to talk about. He said uh, he could foresee the day where China would say, okay, gold's $50,000 an ounce. It's bid at 50,000. It's offered at 50,000. What do you want to do? So if they peg the price or set the price at $50,000 or in yuan or whatever, but if, equivalent of $50,000, then what is the price worldwide? It's got to be $50,000
Mm-hmm.
because that's the market. I mean, money is going to flow where it's treated best. And if the West is at $4,000 gold or $5,000 gold, and China's buying it and selling it in whatever quantities you want at $50,000, that then becomes the price. The problem with that is if you jacked up gold prices 12-fold from here, or it wouldn't even have to go 12-fold, it could go less than 100% from here to break. That would break the contracts. That would break the market itself because like I said, for every winner, there's a loser. And can somebody lose 12 times their money and stay solvent? No, they can't pay the winner. Then the winner's a loser. And then the people who are doing business with either the winner or the loser knows they're both dead. You're going to do business with them? You're going to trade with them? No. And that's I mean, I'm not looking at this and saying, I think this is what could happen. This already happened back in 2008, 2009 with the Lehman Brothers problem. And it took, and think about this, it took only $700 billion in TARP and another, what was it, 16, 17 trillion that we found out 2 years after the fact that the Fed sprayed all over the world, more than half of that to foreign central banks to keep the system floating. And think about how crazy people went over the $700 billion. I mean, people were wringing their hands for 3 or 4 days because $700 billion is a crazy number. Well, $700 billion is like a broken potato chip that falls out of your pocket now. Who's the white knight going to be? I mean, 16, 17 trillion is not going to fix the problem. Who's going to step up and save the ECB? Who's going to step up and save the Bank of Japan? Who's going to step up and save the Fed? Now, I mentioned the ECB, Bank of Japan, and the Fed. Guess what? They all have negative equity. They're all technically insolvent because the bonds that they already own are underwater to the point where their equity has already been wiped out.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the 10-year yield on the Japanese bond, and these things have not slowed down to the upside. I'm looking at, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they exploded.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at the 10-year bond, I think they bottomed out at what, 0.3%? And now they're what, 2?
Yeah, so here's
and the 30-year bond is 320.
Yeah, the Japanese 10-year is at 165, and it has been shooting to the upside consistently now for over a couple years now.
Right, and every time that interest rate ticks up, the bonds that are held by the central bank are less, they have less value.
Yep.
And that's how they've lost their equity. And my question is, who is the white knight? Who's going to step in and save the Fed? Who's going to step in and save the ECB, the Bank of Japan? There is no white knight.
Nope. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. What do you think they're going to do, Bill?
Well, I don't think this is, I think what's happening is they understood where fractional reserve and fiat went. They understood that in 1913 when they began with the Fed. The whole idea was to get the U.S. indebted, and that worked, and the whole world is indebted. If you ask me, the collapse is all part of the plan. Why do you think they've put the laws on the books all over the world that I mean, just look at the footnotes in The Great Taking.
Hmm.
The plan is to take everyone's capital, make everyone serfs. They want to do the digital ID. They want to do central bank digital currency. They want to be able to shut people off. I mean, can you imagine you and I doing this conversation a year from now with a central bank digital currency? Before the interview was done, your account would be frozen.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's so much by mistake. I do believe it's part of the plan to try to enslave the world.
Because if they don't, then there'd be mass. I mean, it would be their heads that roll.
Correct. Yeah, and I've always said they're going to need something to point at as the reason for the system collapsing.
Hmm.
I mean, is it a war? I mean, I have no idea what it's going to be, but I've always said that they will not take the blame. They will create some sort of false flag that they can point at and say, our policies were working fine except for XYZ.
Well, I guess we'll stay put. Do you see a risk of them ever confiscating gold and silver, like they confiscated gold back in the early
Sure.
1900s?
Yeah, if they were to do that, I think it's obviously much more likely that they would do gold instead of silver, because they got to get, at these prices, they got to get 80 ounces of silver to equal every 1 ounce of gold that they confiscate. So yeah, it is a possibility. I think it's more likely that if there's going to be a confiscation, it'll be a nationalization of the mines.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
the thought process has been that North America, the United States, and Canada are the safest mining districts in the world. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think they may be the riskiest. They may have the most risk of anywhere in the world of being confiscated
Are
or nationalized.
Are you invested in any? I mean, up to you if you want to answer it. But
Sure.
are you invested in any mining stocks?
Yeah. I have mining stocks all over the world. My biggest position is a company in Africa, in Tanzania. But you've got to you need to spread and diversify your geographical risk, not just whether it's a senior producer, a junior producer, or an explorer. You also need to diversify by continent, by legal jurisdiction.
Hmm.
You don't want to be 100% physical silver. You don't want to be 100% physical gold. You don't want to be 100% mining companies, but you want some of all to diversify your risk. And
Right.
I mean, we just talked about two risks. One would be nationalization of mines. Another would be confiscation of metal. They can't take it all. If you've got it in your possession, if you have your metal in your possession, and I mean, there's metal all over the world in people's possession that'll never see the light of day if there's a confiscation. And I think there's absolutely no way that there would be a confiscation where they go house to house, because you'd have 100 deaths in the first day.